what a medical laboratory scientist does, they are the ones who do the diagnostics testing on patient samples, whereas it's blood, urines, plasma, all that stuff. And they give a pre-diagnosis result to the doctors to let them know what's going on with them. Because without medical laboratory scientists, basically your doctor would just be guessing what you have based on what you tell them. And like you can really only go so far because there's so many things that could be wrong with you just off of very vague descriptions of what you describe. So I did that. After I graduated, only a week later, I was in the medical laboratory science program at Rutgers NORC. And I was there. It was a 15-month program that I participated in, and it functioned like a miniature med school. And it would break down all the 5 main categories of medical laboratory science that I would need to learn in order to pursue this career. It was chemistry, hematology, blood bank, microbiology, and laboratory you could say informatics, then also like computation, laboratory mathematics, like mechanicalization. We'll go into that later on.
Yeah, so your career requires precision.
Yes, especially
how do you deal with that? I would say the stress of knowing that you have to leave very minimal mistakes.
Oh, I loved it. I thrived in people say oh, I'm very stressful. Yeah, it can be stressful, but after I learned something, oh, I thrive in it and I love it. Especially when it came to science, I loved it because it explored so many different aspects of science that I love that I could truly grow in it, and I can actually just learn and cultivate with it too. Because here's an example: chemistry, you have to be very analytical. You have to be very precise in pretty much in the values that you give, and especially we'll say for your BMP panel, like basic metabolic panels, whether it's for your lipids, your lipids, cholesterol, glucose level, sodium level, that they had to be very precise. You couldn't go off with that. Whereas in say something like hematology, you have to be more observational, and you have to notice certain patterns to see what's going on, and you have to notice certain characteristics within cells to see whether or not something is amiss or not. With blood bank and chemistry are the most analytical ones, where you have to be precise because you can cost someone in their life, especially blood bank. You have to know what blood type that person has in order to transfuse them, especially if they're in the ER. And you have to pretty much find the right type of antibodies that match that blood precisely. Otherwise, you'll end up causing a severe allergic reaction to the patient because you're giving them the wrong type of antibodies that they will cause a severe reaction to. Microbiology is more interesting to me because it's a puzzle game, but it's also memorization too. Once you figure out the ingredients for certain augurs and also what characteristics that a bacteria can grow in a certain environment, you'll know automatically what it is. Then you have viruses, fungi, protozoas, and all that, parasites. That's very interesting too. Laboratory mathematics, that falls in line with the QC data and everything, the quality control to see whether or not your instruments, your analyzers are working properly. And what's interesting about a career too, you can branch off and actually be the people that helps build the analyzers and sell them too, and train people how to do it. I've been offered many times to be a trained specialist to actually train other people how to use these analyzers too. And the thing about this career, you can travel across the states to actually train people how to use these analyzers, and the company pays for your travels.
That's interesting. So what is it that you love so much about microbiology? What is it that fascinates you?
It's a puzzle game. You have to figure out, okay, so now say if a patient brings in a certain piece from your finger or blood culture, or you get a urine culture. So you have to figure out the patterns of in the agar. Pretty much that's like a gelatin media that the bacteria grows in because it gives them the nutrients they need to grow. Now, some bacteria, they grow in an aerobic where it needs oxygen to survive. Some don't need oxygen at all. Others, they need certain conditions, certain material, to grow in and cultivate. So it's a mixed match puzzle game. I like puzzles. It allows you to figure out what it is. But I work in hematology, and I also love observational skill. And in hematology, you have to be observational. You have to notice patterns.
So you study the behaviors of these microorganisms. Yeah. Let me ask you something, because I don't know if I know that superbacteria are out there. Have you ever encountered one?
Not me per se, but we've had cases where people have dealt with MRSA, and we've also dealt with severe staph Staph aureus resistant bacteria too, especially in our hospital and also parts of my field in internships. I've seen that. But the major thing I've dealt with the most, but mainly in my field, was hematology. The main thing I've dealt with the most, and this wasn't a bacteria, but was a virus, was COVID.
Well, this is so interesting to understand what your field embarks. So, two questions: what is MRSA, and what did your life look like during the COVID era?
Ooh. Okay. First off, MRSA was the methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus infection. That's basically a Staph aureus infection or bacteria that after a while they become resistant to the methicillin antibiotic. To the point was like you've been inoculated with it so many times, now it's developed a resistance towards it, and now it becomes much easier for it to spread and proliferate. And pretty much most antibiotics now won't really work on it now. And that's basically what it is. And that's a little bit harder to deal with now, especially now with the rise of antibiotic resistant bacteria.
Welcome back again, Ethics Skill Podcast, where we explore human experiences. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do not forget our campaign. We are committed to transform your subscriptions into pro bono programs for mental health, so you can free somebody's mind from their traumas and help them heal just by subscribing. Very simple, and it costs absolutely nothing. Help us through this campaign, and we just want to pay forward, not only to our viewers, but for those that can't afford mental health services. Just remember, the statistics are real. Only 4 out of 10 Americans can afford mental health services. So help us change that. Hopefully, we can move the statistics and perhaps move it from 4 to 5 out of 10 people have good mental health services.
Let's start.
To the success of the Unity Brunch, may we continue moving forward together. Cheers!